Hello teachers, and welcome to the norming video for the constructed response section for the 5th grade math section for CA3. Before you begin the norming process, you will need to download or print the exemplar responses that are in a PDF underneath this norming video on Blackboard. So if we get started, this on the left-hand side is the rubric, and on the right-hand side you will see the constructed response that your scholars filled out. If you look at the exemplar side by side with this, you'll see some example responses that will really show what gets full credit. For question number 1, this is a question where it's asking scholars to be able to sort and differentiate different types of shapes by different characteristics that those shapes have. So number 1 is worth a total of 7 points, as you'll see over here on the rubric. This first section is worth 1 point, 1 point, and 1 point for each of the 3 categories. So for category 1, each of these shapes are shapes that have equal length sides. And so they should write a sentence that notes that they understand that. For category 2, each of these shapes have at least one right angle. Scholars will receive a point if they note that. And then for category 3, all of these shapes are quadrilaterals. Scholars can also write that each of the shapes has 4 sides, and that will also get them full credit, or 4 vertices. And that is also 1 point. As we go to the second part, it's asking them to explain why certain shapes, such as the square or the rectangle, are in more than one category, and then to give 2 examples from the table above. So there's a few different ways they can go with this. On the exemplar, I discussed the square and the rectangle, but scholars may discuss them slightly differently or talk about the rhombus, for example. So one thing they can say is that the square is in category 1 and category 2 because it has equal sides and it has at least one right angle. So if your scholars write one example, they get 1 point for talking about that one shape. And then the question asks them to give 2 different examples, so they should discuss a second shape. So on the exemplar, you'll see that it has the rectangle is in category 2 and 3 because it is a quadrilateral and it has at least one right angle. So they will get a second point for that section. And then if you go down here, it asks where Jaden should place the trapezoid. So this part is worth 2 points. So they should note what category the trapezoid should go into, and then it asks them to explain, and so they also need to explain that a trapezoid is a quadrilateral or that a trapezoid has 4 sides. So they will receive 1 point for discussing trapezoid would go in category 3, and then another point for identifying that the trapezoid goes there because it is a quadrilateral. All right, moving on to number 2. Number 2 is a coordinate plane, and it is asking scholars to describe in words where certain points are located from the origin. So they'll have to know that the origin is 0, 0 right here. And so you'll see that right here it really outlines pretty clearly what A is, what B is, and what C is. So scholars just must mention both X and Y axis movement and put it into words. So point A, you'll see, is located 3/4 of a unit to the right from the origin and 3/4 of a unit up. They do not have to specifically mention the x-axis or specifically mention the y-axis. They simply have to write right and up, or left or down. So they receive 1 point for correctly locating point A, 1 point for point B, and 1 point for point C, and you'll see that the rubric has what those units should be on it, and so does the exemplar response. Thank you.